we're focusing on Namaste Obama and the delegation level talks that are taking place even as we speak at Hyderabad House. A partnership with, remember, President Obama, when he was here 4 years ago, said was the defining partnership of the 21st century. I want to go to our correspondent, Smita Sharma. Smita, I'm told that a special shamiana has been created for the two leaders for their one-on-one, not inside Hyderabad House. The weather is pretty lovely today in Delhi. It's a winter, a January winter afternoon. Is there a special shamiana there? I see those pictures of a shamiana which has been created in the lawns of the Hyderabad House, where I'm told the two leaders will be without their accompanying delegation and will be talking to each other in a more informal atmosphere. Tell us more about that.
Absolutely, Rajdeep. In fact, the luncheon supposedly has gone on for pretty long than what it was scheduled for, and the walkabout still hasn't begun. But yes, that shamiana that you see, that sort of tent that has been built inside Hyderabad House premises, is essentially to keep away intruding media glare and media cameras, just in case if somebody tries to be a paparazzi and tries to zoom in while those two leaders really walk around and iron out differences on more complex issues, you know, put things forward which need the really sort of top leadership level of a push. Of course, after that they will have those delegation talks. We're expecting those press remarks to be delayed slightly now, and if it's any solace to you, Rajdi, because we're talking about a vegetarian sandwich affair, from what looks like the menu that was there in Hyderabad House, there seems to have been no kebabs for Barack Obama, really, because as per the menu being tweeted out by the MEA spokesperson Syed Akbaruddin, there seems to be Gujarati curry and an all vegetarian affair, really. So you know, we are waiting, of course, for the press interaction to begin, where there will be no questions that will be taken in. Later, of course, in the evening, we have a press conference by the MEA itself and a joint statement that will be issued during the course of this visit, which will have the finer details, really, Rajdeep.
But what you are saying is that there will be, I presume that there will be some kind of a media interaction straight after the delegation level talks before the MEA has their formal press conference. Am I right? At about 3:15, in about half an hour, 45 minutes, we expect some kind of a formal press interaction by the two leaders?
That is right, Rajdeep. In fact, that is on. They will come into Hyderabad House. In fact, a few minutes from now, media will be allowed inside. So we will go into the ballroom, really, which is on the first floor in Hyderabad House, where the two leaders will come, make a joint media appearance and make those joint media remarks, where they will perhaps outline the larger vision, the broader vision as they see the blueprint for the Indo-US relations going forward. But no questions, you know, somehow in this new government, this has become a trend now. No questions are taken, which is pretty surprising, even for, you know, a leader like, when it's done with somebody like a Xi Jinping or a Shinzo Abe, we can still understand. But for Barack Obama, who does a press conference every second day, so used to, in fact, taking questions from the press, even he seems to, of course, have reconciled with Mr. Modi's style and no questions there.
You know, Smita, I'm seeing that the two leaders are sharing some kind of a booklet with each other. Do we know what that was about? A booklet which was provided by the Indian Prime Minister to the US President, which he's reading at the moment, as we can see on our visuals on television. Do we have any idea of that?
Yes, we do have, Rajdeep. In fact, that's a compilation of all the official debates that happened, really, in the making of the Indian, you know, in the Constituent Assembly for India when the Constitution was being drafted. Remember, Obama is the chief guest here at India's 66th Republic Day celebrations. And Mr. Modi is now, in fact, known for a trademark style of picking up his gifts, you know, sort of, when he went, of course, to the US, he took with him a lot of films of Martin Luther King. So now he is gifted to Mr. Obama the official debates that happened, really, in the framing of the Indian Constitution.
About 12 o'clock. Okay, Smita, we're going to come back to you with more information. As always, Smita Sharma, the most informed journalist in a way on that MEA beat. She gets you all those details which, in a sense, cut through a lot of the clutter and the hype. Apparently, that's an interesting thing to give.
Jhankies or floats of military equipment rolling by. But I think it's much more than a former Soviet-style parade. It's really an Indian sort of celebration of, you know, we may be old worldly in the sense that you have children dancing on Rajpath. But I think it's a great festival and everybody is there to enjoy it. So I think Obama, I hope he appreciates the fact that this is such an important day in our calendar.
Right.
And that we are celebrating the making of the Constitution with all these sort of people. And it's not only like a Soviet-style military parade, but it's much more than
Is it a Soviet-style military parade, Republic Day parade?
No, if you have tableau like we have of every state, it cuts out the Soviets, Chinese, everyone.
Right.
It's not that kind of
It is a
procession
special
anyway.
occasion. It's unique. It's unique. I don't think any other country really has that kind of wonderful parade that India has.
It's a celebration of India's federalism.
Sure,
you know,
not only
federalism,
that.
people, young, no.
Just a minute. Yes.
The celebration of the unique concept of unity in diversity.
Yeah.
That's right. One which we should treasure, and one which I'm sure Barack Obama, as America's first Afro-American president, will also treasure. The idea of unity in diversity means so much to this country and means so much, in a sense, to the United States. The important thing, of course, as Smita mentioned, is Mr. Parthasarathi was troubled with the vegetarian sandwiches, in a sense, that we were giving, but it appears that lunch at Hyderabad House is also vegetarian. So that's what I'm being told, that the Indian Prime Minister has convinced Barack Obama that the biryani can be kept for dinner. Lunch is a working lunch, so it will be vegetarian, with curry, I'm told, being a dominant feature of that. Narendra Modi is a good Gujarati at one level still.
But,
Kadhi chawal.
When Obama reads that part of the Constituent Assembly debates,
yes,
he's going to be perplexed by one thing. That throughout the entire Constituent Assembly debates, there is no mention of India being federal. The word federal, federation, federalism
doesn't exist.
Okay.
Don't exist.
It's a union of states.
Let me take a break at this point. When we
Which
return,
means more Unitarian.
Let me take a break. When we return, back with plenty more as we head into that. Remember, we expect the two leaders to come out around 3 p.m. and address the press and take, hopefully, some questions. They didn't do that in Washington. We're looking at the Obama visit from a perspective of diplomacy, but apart from the diplomacy, there's been symbolism. And one of the symbolic features of today, and I think one which has really broken a glass ceiling and set a new trend, is that we had a lady officer who took the Tri-Services Guard of Honor at the Rashtrapati Bhavan forecourt. She, in a sense, is a star of this Sunday morning. Wing Commander Pooja Thakur, and she's been speaking to us. Let's listen into what Pooja Thakur had to say. Those are the pictures, and that's Pooja Thakur, who today was taking the Tri-Services Guard of Honor, rare honor, the first time since Republic Day 1950, Jan 26, and the first time that whenever a foreign dignitary has come to this country, that a woman, a lady officer, has taken the Guard of Honor. Take a look at her as she strides behind the US President along the red carpet as he was about to meet the dignitaries. So really a proud moment for Pooja Thakur, a proud moment in a sense for the Indian woman, and maybe for Narendra Modi's Beti Bachao campaign. She could become a brand ambassador in the manner in which she has taken center stage in a way today on the first day of the Obama visit. As I said, Pooja Thakur has been speaking to journalists as to what this day has meant for her, what this day really means for the women of India. Meena Sikri, as a woman diplomat, that's a
wonderful statement, and I think one has to be proud that she has broken this glass ceiling, and we give her every good wish for breaking more and more glass ceilings and rising high in her career. I think this is a great moment, and I think the defense forces are playing a great role.
Diplomacy is done rather well, despite the male chauvinists like Mr. Parthasarathi.
Let me say, when I was in Moscow,
yes. Were you still a male chauvinist?
No, I was a very formidable lady.
Yes.
Accompanied by her husband 2 years senior.
Yes.
Walked in. That was Veena Sikri and Rajiv.
Yeah, that was my first
And at least in the foreign service, the fact of the matter is that the ladies have done us proud. They've matched the men.
But let's be honest, a lot of this has happened in the last decade. I know someone I know well, Arundhati Ghosh and others. You've had very formidable women officers.
The first Indian woman in the service was 1949.
Muthamma, who's the first book.
But they couldn't get married at that time.
Yeah, the first Indian woman who came first in India was 1969, Shyamala Balasubramanian.
But you wanted to tell us the story. I think our viewers need to know that. The Muthamma story, she couldn't get married,
yes,
right?
you know, even when I joined the service,
yes,
and that was in 1971, you had to apply for permission to get married. A woman officer had to apply for permission to get married, and a male officer did not have to apply for permission. And when a woman officer applied for permission, she got a very condescending reply, yes, but you may be called upon to resign if this interferes with your duties. And I must say that Foreign Secretary T.N. Kaul...
So you could, a woman officer, sorry, go on.
So
Foreign Secretary.
Yes, number one. And we know that Rama Mehta, who married Jagat Mehta, former foreign secretary, she had to resign. She could not stay on in the foreign service.
So you're saying through the 50s and 60s, if a woman diplomat married, once she got married, she had to leave the service?
She had to apply for permission to get married. You know, I got engaged to Rajiv in 1971.
Yes.
And the rule then was that a married lady could not join the foreign service. And everybody in MEA told me, look, don't get married, because if you do, you won't be able to join. So, in fact, I had to be not married on the date when I joined the foreign service. It was terrible, and we never got equal foreign allowances. I had to fight for 10 years.
You didn't get equal foreign allowances?
She didn't.
Till when?
My God, till for about 10 years of my service, till the 80s.
Yes, I remember when
you were part of a very male chauvinistic diplomatic service. So Pooja Thakur has broken another barrier.
When she joined us,
yes,
she used to always look at me with a sullen face, you know, saying that, look, I'm not getting paid what I deserve.
Yes, you know, I got £12 a month for what work I did in the Embassy of India in Moscow.
I'm looking at the various areas where women have not broken. Let's look at it. Interestingly, let's look at the various areas where women have not broken the glass ceiling. I want to focus a moment on Pooja Thakur, and I'll ask my correspondent, my producer, to play images of Pooja Thakur, because she has, as I said, been one of the stars of this Sunday. We haven't had a woman cabinet secretary as yet in this country, am I correct? I think the highest that we've had is a principal secretary to the Prime Minister.
Yes. When I was there, Sarla Garewal.
Sarla Garewal was there, principal secretary to the Prime Minister, but we haven't had a woman cabinet secretary. We haven't had what? Have we ever had a woman defense secretary, home secretary? No, in this country. So the IAS has much to be questioned about. The IFS.
That's why we are proud to be the foreign service.
The foreign service
always ahead.
The foreign service has done better than that. There's the whole question, of course, about whether women should be allowed space in combat roles in the army.
Look, there I agree. Even the Americans,
yes,
at long last they're permitting some combat role on the air.
Yes.
But I think ground combat, to sheer physical requirements can be different.
Israelis are also doing
it. But we have announced for the Navy as well.
But Israelis are different.
Look, journalism, I know in television newsrooms you've had women editors, we have now more and more women, but when I joined journalism in 1989, I don't think there had been a single woman journalist of a newspaper, and there were no television channels there. And so journalism also has changed all too slowly.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of it. We've had women chief justices now.
Yes.
But not a Supreme Court chief justice.
We've not had we've had women judges, but not a Supreme Court. So Ruma Pal, Fatima Bibi, we've had several distinguished judges, but we haven't had a woman Supreme Court. So that's another glass ceiling that needs to be broken in this country.
Yes, yes.
What else? What are the other glass ceilings that we can think of?
But Rajdeep, if I may say, I think that women-centric areas of development have to be done. After leaving the service, and while I was in the university as professor, I created a South Asia Women's Network. It's called SWAN. And we are women of 9 countries, all the SAARC countries plus Myanmar. And we're working on women at the grassroots level, because you cannot have people breaking those glass ceilings until at the grassroots level you have women being empowered enough, educated enough, health-wise having the priority of development, and environmentally, having a women-centered program of development. Now let us take environment. Fuel, water, and cooking and food. Women are the ones responsible. So if you're looking at how to improve the conditions, whether they have to walk 10 miles, whether they have to cut the trees, make women the focus of your social development program.
Since we are talking about the Indo-US equation, look at where we score over the US. We've had a, woman Prime Minister.
Woman President.
We've had a woman President.
Yes.
The Congress President with the longest tenure is Sonia Gandhi. Before her was Annie Besant, also a woman.
Indira Gandhi also.
Indira Gandhi, first woman Prime Minister that this country had, but Srimama Bandaranaike, of course, was the first that was there in the neighborhood. We've done remarkably well compared to the Americans.
I'm sorry.
Look at the Americans. The Americans haven't had a woman president.
Yes, but let me tell you something. From the year 2006 onwards, the World Economic Forum in Davos has been putting out what they call the Global Gender Gap Report, which measures the gap between men and women in accessing resources in 4 areas: political empowerment, education, health and survival, and economic empowerment. Now, India was at one time in 2006 within the top 100. We have been slipping. We are now 114 out of 142 countries. We are very good in political empowerment. We do well in that. But in health and survival, in education and in economic empowerment, we are slipping.
And we are 114. May I ask Kamal Mitra Chinoy from the world of academia? Have we been able to break enough glass ceilings in the world of academia? Do we have enough women vice chancellors? Do we have enough women who are really at top deciding? I know we have an HRD minister today who's a woman, but that's only one part of it. What about vice chancellors? Do we have enough women? Do we have more role models like Pooja Thakur today?
Well, we have had and do have women vice chancellors, but the proportion...
Has JNU ever had a woman vice chancellor? I don't think so.
No. But the proportion is quite poor.
Yes.
Proportion is quite poor. So I think, in a way, that's why we are...
But not for women professors.
Yes.
Rajdeep, I look at it more down.
Yes.
Unfortunately, in rural India, we are still a male-dominated society.
That is it.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
That is the crux.
Absolutely.
In
So
rural
why just
hold on.
Why just rural area? What about
Urban
even
India?
urban India?
Why more vice chancellors?
Therefore, the basic thing is
the
availability of good education for women and for girls. We are a conservative society. Often families are worried about sending kids to co-ed schools, but opportunities for girls from the
but let me put it this way. I asked General Shankar Prasad, who was on our panel this morning, why did it take us, 65 years since the Republic was formed, for a woman to be asked to take charge of the Tri-Services Guard of Honor? He had no answer. He had no answer to that question. Because obviously over the years, it was taken for granted that it will be done by a man.
Rajdeep, there's a more shocking instance.
Yes.
First Congress, then BJP Chief Minister of Haryana.
Yes.
Both said the same thing. No jeans, no mobile phones, no mixing with men.
No, I think changing
we are still
mindsets.
a feudal society.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Actually, changing mindsets is the key. Changing mindsets is the key, and it has to be done by a combination. Government has to do something, private sector has to do something. Now, for example, even gender-sensitive laws. Why shouldn't all our laws be reviewed to see if they take account of gender concerns? Gender-responsive budgeting and gender audit. These things have to come in. We have 1/3 reservation for women in the Panchayati Raj system, and that is a very good starting point. And this is quite different from many other countries, and that's helping a lot. But still, as I said, we are falling behind in women, in the gender gap.
I think we are falling behind at one level, but we are also falling away from our central focus, which is the US President and the Indian Prime Minister, who are, as we speak, having lunch and will be meeting the press a little after 3 p.m. today to discuss the possibilities of a joint statement as well as what has been achieved from the delegation level talks. That's the Shamiana that has been put up outside Hyderabad House, where the one-on-one is taking place between the leaders, apart of course from the delegation level talks that are taking place there at Hyderabad House. But the reason we spent a little bit of time there was because Pooja Thakur today has really in a sense set a trend, and to the credit of the Prime Minister with his Beti Bachao Andolan as well, which he only launched I think 2 days ago, and now we've got what has happened today. Hopefully these are all stirrings of change. And when you see a Saina Nehwal on the badminton wheel, when you see our wrestlers, the Fogart sisters, for example, for Haryana, lots of symbols to be proud of. Mary Com, as we enter the 66th year of our republic, it's good to see women taking positions of power, influence, and being on top.
And I think Prime Minister Modi's programs have been very direct.
Well, I hope that they will be direct. Now he's of course got to ensure that his Haryana government, particularly the Chief Minister of Haryana, who in the past has made unfortunately statements very regressive, particularly when it comes to the panchayats. I hope that Mr. Khattar is taking the cue from the Prime Minister and from Pooja Thakur. Back in a moment.